Chapter 8 gives us the heading that we are to have clear aims. It's always better for us to start something with the end in mind. That's true of so many things in life. Why wouldn't it be that way with our relationships? Not for their termination, but for their direction. And I think that this would be an important principle for us to contemplate as we're thinking about these discipleship relationships, because everybody needs to move in a direction. Can you spot what that is? It's best for us not to be too predetermined to know exactly where everything's going to go, or at least think we know, but at least to have some goals in mind so that we can start moving in a direction, as opposed to just thinking, well, we'll arrive where we arrive when we arrive. And we were told that we are basing this off of two main indicators here. First is that we all need to understand more, that education is still a part of this whole process. Now, book smarts are not the be-all, end-all to growing in the Christian life, but we are pursuing a life that is built on the Word. That is the Word who is Jesus, but also the Word in print, which is the Bible. So we can't really progress forward until we know more about who the Lord is, and that's revealed in His Word. And so I've had an axiom in counseling that those who read the most and do the most homework grow the fastest. That just seems to be the way it happens. Now, we all know people who are full of stuff up here, but don't really translate it to the real world, or don't live that particular way. And so, of course, that's not what we're talking about, because there's a counterbalance that we'll get to in a minute. We were introduced to this concept of a life, truth, life pattern. And the author said that the first step in that is a life that would draw other people to the truth that lives within us. In other words, that we would be living in such a way that would attract others to want to hear about what we believe. And when we have that, and we develop a transformation in our lives based on the truth, not just based on some of the things that are appealing to others, but a transformation based on the truth of the knowledge of the Word of God, then our lives will then model, that's that second life in the pattern, that our lives will model what others need to see. And that's really a part of that understanding more. That's part of that education process in the discipleship life. And then the second component that we were told about was we just simply need to live better. Now, it's a little bit different than what we hear today. People are like, just do better. You know, you're better than this, do better. It's not just sort of a condemnation kind of, hold your feet to the fire, but really to start living an accountable life, to rely on those in your life to hold you to a higher standard that you can actually do better, but also to do so in a transparent way. You and I will not always be on our A game. You and I will have moments where we need to just let the other person know this is what it looks like to bounce back from failure. This is what it looks like to receive God's grace when we haven't done things to the high standard that His holiness has called us to. That's a huge part of the gospel, and it's in fact the only reason why you and I are saved. And so we have to remember that as we demonstrate this aspect of not only just understanding more in our mind, but we're also willing to live it out, even if some of the ugly is exposed. That is part of the whole process as we do this life together. Now let's go forward into chapter 9 and see what it means to pay the cost of discipleship.